Six Chennai police officers have been arrested in connection with the Vignesh Custodial death. The accused cops have been booked on charges of murder. This comes after Tamil Nadu Chief Minister said that Vignesh's death case has been registered as a case of murder and directed CB-CID to frame charges against police personnel involved. Remember, a 25-year-old man had recently died under suspicious circumstances in police custody. The case was later modified to a murder case after post-mortem showed multiple injuries on his body. The man had been arrested for allegedly carrying drugs. Shilpa joins us for more on the broadcast. Shilpa, thank you for joining us. Now, 6 police personnel have been arrested in Vignesh's death case. What is the latest that you can share with us when this action, it was after consistent reporting on this case, the pressure was mounting on the Tamil Nadu police and the government. Otherwise, without the pressure, it seems nothing would have happened.
Well, absolutely. In fact, the Chennai Police, they had tried a lot of times to cover up this entire matter because the family members alleged that 1 lakh was paid to them by the cops to, in an attempt to hush up this matter. So clearly there was elaborate plans from the Chennai Police to hush up this entire case. But of course, the media pressure and the several evidences that, of course, now come to light that put a lot of pressure on the DMK government and also on the side of the opposition parties. In fact, the post-mortem report of Vignesh was the clincher. It listed out 13 injuries that Vignesh had sustained in his body, which is fresh injuries, is what being told. And because of that, the Chief Minister MK Stalin, while speaking in Assembly yesterday, he of course said that the case will be altered and a murder case will be registered and the cops will be booked under murder charges, is what Chief Minister of course said, especially on the basis of the post-mortem report, because it clearly suggested that Vignesh had several contusions all over his body, abrasions on his gluteal region. There was a right leg of Vignesh that was fractured. So all of this of course suggested that he was of course beaten up by the police officials, and that is the reason why the CB-CID has decided to arrest 6 cops belonging to the G5 Secretariat Colony Police Station in Chennai. They've been booked under charges of murder and also under relevant sections of the SC/ST Act because Vignesh belongs to the SC community. So now, of course, they will be taken to the magistrate and they will be produced before a magistrate. But this, of course, has happened after days of relentless coverage by media organizations. After evidence after evidence came to light, the CCTV footage, the key eyewitness accounts, the post-mortem report, all of that had come out, and that is the reason why the DMK government has finally decided to act. And now, of course, 6 police officials have been arrested.
Right. Shilpa, for the benefit of our viewers, if you could help us understand the politics of custodial deaths. Remember, it is not just this government, but governments before the DMK government as well. They are guilty of turning a blind eye to custodial deaths because Tamil Nadu is one of the states that has a very bad reputation, a very questionable reputation when it comes to custodial deaths. It has some of the highest numbers of custodial deaths. Could you help us understand the kind of action or the kind of position that this government and the government before this has had and what they have done in this regard?
Well, Raj Benik's custodial deaths that happened in Satankulam under the previous ADMK government. Even then, the government was so reluctant to take action despite, so much in their hand. The government was very reluctant to act on cops. It was after several protests that the government finally transferred the case to the CBI. The court had also interfered in that particular case, and the case was transferred to the CBI, and all of the accused cops were arrested. They're still in jail. None of them have got bail. And even in this case, the DMK was at the forefront of protests when in the case of the Satankulam custodial deaths, and one would have expected that the DMK would have been prompt in taking action when something like that happens under their watch, but that did not happen, and that is the reason why many activists in the state are extremely disappointed with the way in which the DMK handled this entire issue, because it took them so many days. This incident took place on the intervening night of April 18th and 19th. It took them so many days to even arrest these erring cops, despite all these evidences that have now come to light. So the government's changed, but the police character remains the same. The system remains the same. In fact, during the Satankulam custodial death, the one aspect that the court, of course, kept highlighting is that the need of sensitization. Workshops must be held for policemen so that their policing can be very humane in nature. This is something that the court emphasized time and again, but we have no clarity as to whether those workshops were even held, as per court directions. But nevertheless, these incidents have once again brought to light the need for strict laws, the need for more sensitization as far as the police department is concerned. Because, like you rightly mentioned, Tamil Nadu has one of the high number of custodial deaths when compared to other states, and that, of course, is extremely concerning.
All right, thank you, Shilpa, for these updates and helping us understand the nuances of this story. And the big development is 6 police officials have been arrested and they're accused of killing a man in their custody. They've been booked on charges of murder.